In this video, we would like to explain the basic rules of the game The Last Ages. This is the game setup. As you can see, it immediately feels like a real-time strategy setup with a map that appears symmetrical but isn't entirely. Each starting point has specific strategic advantages. The game includes 4 players: green, purple, white, and orange. They all start with a town hall and a capital marker on it. This means that if a player's town hall is destroyed, the game ends. It is not a last man standing game. The moment a player destroys another player's town hall, the game ends. This means there can only be one winner. Game summary. Just like in real-time strategy video games, the goal is to expand your city by constructing buildings next to your town hall and starting new bases using building slots. Buildings primarily produce units that can be used to destroy other players' units and buildings. As mentioned earlier, the moment you destroy an opponent's town hall with a capital marker on it, you win and the game stops. The phases. The game is played in rounds and each round consists of 2 phases, the plan phase and the play phase. During the plan phase, you focus on the action tray, where all your tokens are stored. This serves as your inventory. Each round, you secretly decide which buildings and units to place in the queue. In the next phase, you will be able to place these buildings and units from the queue onto the board. When the second to last player finishes their plan phase, a sand timer is placed for the last player, giving them 30 more seconds to complete their planning. At the end of the plan phase, players must declare how much they have spent in total. Each player starts with 20 hardwood, and spending can be easily tracked per round for each player using the Last Ages app. During the play phase, each player takes turns placing everything they had queued in their action tray onto the game board. The player with the most hardwood after all expenses have been reported is considered the wealthiest and gets to start the play phase first. The player with the least hardwood plays last. In some cases, saving hardwood can be a strategic advantage, as it allows you to take the first turn in the play phase. Unlocking building and unit options. During the plan phase, you cannot buy all buildings and units immediately. Each building and unit has a cost, indicated on the front of the token. The first building of a specific type you buy costs 8 hardwood. The more buildings of the same type you construct, the cheaper they become, meaning specialization in a building type pays off. Every time you construct a building of a specific type, it unlocks a corresponding unit. For example, purchasing a workshop and placing it in your queue unlocks the first unit in that row, in this case, the engineer. This unit can then also be queued. If you place or have already purchased 2 workshops, the second unit in that row, the tower, can be bought. The rightmost unit in each row requires 3 buildings of the same type. Strategically, this means it is advisable to focus on 1 or 2 strategies to specialize effectively. Your chosen strategies allow you to surprise your opponents or counter their moves on the board. Unit overview. Each unit and building has its own specialty. During the plan phase, every player places a cover screen around their action tray. This prevents opponents from seeing which units and buildings you are purchasing. Additionally, each cover screen contains an explanation of what each unit and building can or cannot do. The town hall produces lumberjacks, who gather hardwood. A workshop allows you to purchase engineers and construct military buildings like towers and trebuchets. A barracks enables you to train infantry units. The more advanced your barracks, the stronger your infantry units. A harbor lets you build various types of ships. The War Academy allows you to acquire relic raiders, which can capture red tokens. These tokens can be exchanged for relics that provide special abilities. Depending on how many War Academies you own, you can determine which superpower to assign to your relic. Resources. To construct buildings and units, you need sufficient hardwood. During the play phase, you can increase the amount of hardwood you gain per round by deploying lumberjacks and moving them to the forest. The more lumberjacks you have in the forest, with a maximum of 5, the more hardwood you receive each round. The app automatically tracks this. Play phase. After all buildings and units have been queued in the action tray and expenses have been reported, the play phase begins. During this phase, you can first place units and buildings from the action tray onto the board in any order you choose. Once buildings are placed, you can immediately deploy units that require those buildings. Then you can move units as desired, respecting their movement limits. The final step of the play phase is attacking. To attack, units must be adjacent to an enemy unit. An attack is successful if two friendly units attack one enemy unit. The attacking player chooses which unit moves into the attacked unit's position, while the defeated unit is returned to its owner's action tray. Buildings can also be attacked, following similar rules. To destroy a town hall, 3 attacking units are required. To prevent your opponent from producing defensive units too quickly, you can block their buildings. By positioning a unit next to an enemy building, it prevents the building from producing new units, even if those units were already queued. If a unit is adjacent to 2 enemy buildings, the player must choose which building to block. Strategies. Winning in the last stages requires careful planning and choosing the right strategy. There are 5 main approaches. Barracks strategy. Focus on military dominance by training infantry units in barracks to attack enemy buildings and units. Naval strategy. Build a harbor to construct ships, gaining control over waterways for surprise attacks and resource management. War Academy strategy. Construct war academies to unlock invention cards with game-changing bonuses and recruit relic raiders to capture powerful relics. Engineer strategy. Use workshops to build towers for defense and trebuchets for long-range attacks, strengthening battlefield control. Expansion strategy. Establish additional town halls to create new bases and earn speed potions, enabling faster unit movement and rapid expansion. If played by experienced players, the game often ends within 5 to 7 rounds due to limited resources and the ability to establish bases close to opponents. Speed potions also enable rapid movement and swift attacks. To win, you must think several rounds ahead, ensuring that you, rather than another player, deliver the final blow. If you want to learn more about how the game works, be sure to read the game manual. We wish you lots of fun playing and hope that the boldest strategists win.